When Sarah Mitchell entered the briefing room without a uniform, the male pilot said, "This place isn't for women like you." Sarah left without saying a word. But Sarah was actually the first female instructor at Top Gun Academy and a Rafale test pilot. Building 99 at Nellis Air Force Base was considered the heart of the Red Flag training program. The world's most elite pilots learned combat tactics here. That Wednesday morning, the briefing room was filled with its usual atmosphere of testosterone and arrogance. Sarah Mitchell, 52 years old, quietly entered the back of the room. She wore civilian clothes, a simple white shirt, jeans, and sneakers. Her hair was pulled back in a plain ponytail, her makeup-free face showing a calm but determined expression. The 24 male pilots in the room immediately turned their attention to her. These were F-22, F-35, and F-16 pilots, the best from America, England, France, and Germany. And none of them recognized Sarah. "Excuse me, ma'am," said Colonel Jack Stevens, an arrogant squadron leader from the British Royal Air Force. "This is a classified briefing room, not for visitors." Sarah smiled. "I came here for pilot training." The men in the room started laughing. Major Brad Hansen, an American F-22 pilot, stood up. "Ma'am, what aircraft do you fly? A Cessna?" More laughter erupted. Sarah remained calm. "I fly various aircraft," she said simply. "Where's your uniform?" asked Captain Francois Dubois, a French Rafale pilot. "You can't enter here without a uniform." They looked at Sarah. Indeed, she had no uniform, no pilot wings, no rank insignia, no unit patches. She looked like an ordinary woman. "Look," Stevens said in a condescending tone. "This is elite pilot training, not transport helicopters or cargo aircraft. Fighter jets. You might be looking for a different program." "Yes," Major Hansen added. "You might be looking for the Women's Auxiliary Program, but this room is for real warriors." Briefing instructor Lieutenant Colonel Mike Torres entered. When he saw Sarah, he paused. "Ma'am, is there some confusion here?" Sarah stood up. "No, just bad timing, I guess. I'll come back later." "Smart choice," Stevens muttered. "This environment is too intense for you." As Sarah left the room, no one made eye contact with her. Walking down the corridor, she took out her cell phone and dialed a number. "Pentagon. This is Sarah Mitchell. Authorization code Tango 77 Alpha. I'm requesting clearance for a special demonstration. Yes. The Rafale. Over. Nellis." The voice on the other end. "Ma'am, what level demonstration?" "Full tactical, including classified maneuvers." "Understood. Clearance granted. Aircraft ready in Hangar 12. Sarah hung up and smiled. Those men in the briefing room didn't yet know who Sarah was. The first female instructor at Top Gun Academy. Chief developer of the NATO Advanced Fighter Tactics Program. Rafale test pilot. And more importantly, the holder of an undefeated combat simulation record for the past 5 years. In 2 hours, all of Nellis personnel would be looking at the sky. And those male pilots would learn who Sarah Mitchell was. 15 years ago, Sarah Mitchell became the first woman to have her name written in aviation history. Top Gun Academy, officially the United States Navy Strike Fighter Tactics Instructor Program, PLASINS, had only accepted male pilots since 1969. In 2008, Sarah broke that tradition. At that time, 27-year-old Sarah had graduated from the Naval Academy and shown exceptional performance in the FA-18 Super Hornet. But acceptance to Top Gun required more than just flying skills. Tactical brilliance, leadership, and innovation were necessary. Sarah's selection process had become legendary. Consecutive 47 victories in air-to-air combat simulations. 100% accuracy in ground attack precision bombing. Most importantly, the ability to find creative solutions in complex tactical scenarios. Her first year at Top Gun hadn't been easy. Male instructors expected extra performance from her. Students had trouble showing respect, but Sarah silenced all doubts with persistence and excellence. In 2011, Sarah went to France as part of a NATO exchange program. She had the opportunity to learn the advanced capabilities of the Rafale aircraft. French test pilots were impressed by Sarah's natural talent. "She flies the aircraft as if it were part of her soul," said Rafale chief test pilot Claude Moreau. Sarah stayed in France for 18 months, learning every system of the Rafale. Desert storm maneuvers, high-altitude intercepts, low-level precision strikes. She achieved mastery in all. When she returned in 2012, the Pentagon gave Sarah a special assignment, Advanced Combat Training Development. Sarah's mission was to develop next-level tactics for new generation pilots. This program was classified. It didn't appear in Sarah's official record. On paper, she was still a regular Navy instructor. But in reality, Sarah was designing America's most advanced combat training systems. Sarah's innovations were revolutionary: multi-spectrum threat assessment protocols, AI-integrated combat decision trees, cross-platform tactical integration systems, advanced enemy aircraft simulation algorithms. These systems transformed pilot training. Graduation success rates increased by 300%. Combat readiness evaluation scores reached record levels. But Sarah's greatest achievement was personal. Over those 6 years, she trained more than 200 male pilots. Pilots who initially had sexist attitudes showed ultimate respect to Sarah after program completion. "She doesn't just teach flying," said one graduate. "She teaches thinking, combat consciousness, strategic superiority." Sarah's reputation was legendary within the classified community. But publicly, she was invisible. Special operations instructors avoided publicity. Today, those arrogant pilots at Nellis didn't recognize Sarah because she deliberately maintained a low profile. But after the demonstration, everyone would know. As Sarah walked to Hangar 12, her confidence was absolute. This wasn't just a flying show. This was a lesson in respect. Smiling as she entered the French Rafale cockpit, it was time to show these boys what real piloting looked like. Combat experience: classified. Training record: exceptional. Current status: ready for demonstration. Mission objective: humble the arrogant, educate the ignorant. Sarah Mitchell was about to remind everyone why she was a legend. A routine Wednesday afternoon was taking place at Nellis Air Force Base Control Tower. While Tower Controller Staff Sergeant Martinez was monitoring radar screens, he noticed an unexpected blip. "Sir," he said to Duty Officer Major Collins, "unidentified aircraft approaching from the south. No transponder, no flight plan filed." Collins looked at the scope. The aircraft signature looked familiar, but the registration wasn't in any database. "Establish radio contact. Standard intercept procedures." Just then, the radio crackled. "Nellis Tower. This is Mirage 7 requesting permission for tactical demonstration." Collins frowned. He had never heard the call sign Mirage 7. "Mirage 7. Identify yourself and state your purpose." Nellis Tower. Special Pentagon authorization. Code Tango 77 Alpha. Requesting unrestricted airspace for training demonstration. Collins quickly typed the authorization code. The screen immediately displayed, "Classified operation, full clearance granted. Do not interfere." "Mirage 7, you have complete clearance. The airspace is yours." The male pilots in the briefing room were continuing their training session. Lieutenant Colonel Torres was explaining tactical scenarios. The windows were closed, outside sounds muffled. Suddenly, the building shook. A slight vibration, then increasing intensity. Torres paused mid-sentence. "Sonic boom?" Major Hansen asked. Just then, an incredible sound came. Jet engine roar, but different from normal F-16 or F-22. More sophisticated, more powerful. "What the hell?" Stevens ran to the window. He saw an impossible sight in the sky. A Rafale fighter jet in vertical climb, ascending 300 meters per second. "This is impossible." Stevens held his breath. When the aircraft reached 30 feet, it suddenly stopped. It hung in the air. Then it began a perfect cobra maneuver. Nose 90 degrees up, speed bleeding off, aircraft virtually standing on its tail. "Nobody can do this," Hansen whispered. But Sarah saw this as just a warm-up. She exited the Cobra, then went into knife-edge position, wings vertical, aircraft flying from its side. Normal pilots could hold this for seconds. Sarah maintained it in perfect line for 2 minutes. "Colonel Torres," a student shouted. "How is this possible?" Torres couldn't take his eyes off the aircraft. "I don't know. I've never seen piloting at this level." Sarah was moving to her final maneuver. Flat spin, horizontal rotation of the aircraft. This maneuver would tear apart most aircraft, but the Rafale was dancing in Sarah's hands. 15 seconds of flat spin, then immediate return to normal flight position. Complete silence had fallen over the briefing room. Torres took the radio. "Mirage 7. This is Nellis Ground Control. Who is doing the piloting?" Sarah's voice came calmly. "Ground Control, pilot Sarah Mitchell. Call sign Ghost Angel. Pentagon Special Authorization Program." Torres quickly typed Sarah Mitchell pilot on the keyboard. Results started coming. Top Gun, first female instructor. NATO Rafale specialist. Classified program developer. Impossible, Torres whispered. Sarah continued on the radio. Ground control, requesting permission to land. I need to speak with some male pilots. Stephen's face turned white. Who was this woman they had humiliated this morning? In 2 hours they would find out. And none of them would forget it. When Sarah parked the Rafale on the runway, all Nellis Air Base personnel had gathered around the hangar. She removed her pilot helmet and climbed down from the cockpit. The 52-year-old woman now looked different, confident, authoritative, legendary. The male pilots from the briefing room stood at the front of the group, their faces a mixture of shame and amazement. Sir, Stephen stammered. We didn't know. Sarah smiled gently. You didn't need to know, but there's something you need to learn, respect. Lieutenant Colonel Torres took the microphone. Personnel, meet Sarah Ghost Angel Mitchell. Top Gun Academy's first female instructor, NATO Rafale specialist, 300-plus combat simulation victories. The crowd erupted in applause. This was a legend, not a myth. Sarah raised her hand for silence. Young pilots, you are exceptional. Modern training is excellent, technology incredible. But wisdom comes with experience. Sir, Thompson stepped forward. What we said earlier. Unforgivable. Forgiven, Sarah said simply. But learn from this. Every pilot, young, old, experienced, rookie, has something to teach. Arrogance blinds you to lessons. Hansen asked. Sir, how did you do those maneuvers? Even the Rafale's specifications? Sarah smiled mysteriously. Aircraft specs are official limits, but a pilot who can push boundaries safely expands aircraft capabilities. I spent decades learning the Rafale's true potential. Would you train us? Thompson asked hopefully. Torres stepped forward. Actually, that's why Sarah's clearance was reactivated. The Pentagon wants her to start an advanced fighter tactics program, elite pilot training. Sarah nodded. Interested pilots can apply. But warning, my program is tough. Discipline, respect, precision required. All the young pilots immediately raised their hands. Sir, Hansen said, earlier today we disrespected you terribly. If you'll have us, we want to learn. Sarah looked at each eager face. These were good pilots, just arrogant. Education could fix arrogance. Program starts Monday. 0500 hours. Hangar 12. Bring your best effort and leave your ego behind. The group dispersed excitedly, buzzing about the opportunity. Sarah started walking toward the hangar exit. Torres caught up. Sarah, that was incredible. How did you maintain those maneuvers for so long? Sarah paused, distant memory in her eyes. Patricia, when you've flown classified missions over hostile territory, when every maneuver means life or death, you learn the aircraft's true soul. The Rafale isn't just a machine, it's a partner. The young pilots worship you now. Good. Fear breeds respect. Respect breeds learning. But worship is dangerous. I'm a teacher, not a god. That evening, Sarah sat on her hotel balcony, looking at the Nellis runway lights. After 15 years of retirement, she was back where she belonged, not just flying, but teaching the next generation. Her phone was buzzing with messages. Pentagon, congratulations. Lockheed Martin interview requests. Aviation Week cover story offers. But the most meaningful message was a simple text from Hansen. Sir, thank you for the second chance. See you Monday 0500. Sarah smiled, typed back. Earn it. The next morning, the base newspaper headline read, Ghost Angel Returns. Legend takes command of elite training program. The article included a photo. Sarah, standing beside the Rafale, confident pose, decades of experience evident. Caption, some legends retire, others just rest their wings. Sarah's new mission was beginning, teaching respect, discipline, excellence to a new generation. Ghost Angel was back, this time as a mentor. 3 months later, Nellis Air Force Base had completely changed. Sarah's advanced fighter tactics program had become legendary in the aviation world. Elite pilots from around the world were coming for training. Stevens and Hansen were the program's first graduates. Their arrogance had transformed into discipline and respect. Now they too were teaching Sarah's lessons to junior pilots. Remember, Hansen told a young pilot during briefing, aircraft specs are just the starting point. Real limits depend on the pilot's skill and connection with the aircraft. Sarah's daily routine was strict. 0500 physical training, 0600 technical briefing, 0700 to 1200 flight training, 1300 to 1700 tactical analysis. Students were exhausted, but the results were incredible. The program's reputation had reached the Pentagon. The Joint Chiefs of Staff had visited Sarah. "Your program is producing the best pilots we've seen in decades," General Martinez had said. But Sarah's greatest satisfaction came from individual transformations. Stevens, once arrogant and dismissive, was now a respectful leader. Hansen had gained confidence, but maintained humility. "Sir," Thompson said to Sarah one evening, "the program didn't just make me a better pilot, it made me a better person." Sarah nodded approvingly. That was the point. Flying technique is easy to teach. Character is harder. On the program's first anniversary, the base organized a major ceremony. The Air Force Secretary was giving Sarah special recognition. Media was present, cameras rolling. "Sarah Mitchell," the Secretary announced, "has revolutionized modern pilot training. Her wisdom, experience, and dedication represent extraordinary service to the country." Sarah accepted the award modestly. "The real credit belongs to the students. I just reminded them. Pilot greatness comes from character, not technology." After the ceremony, Sarah stood alone in Hangar 12. The Rafale shone in the afternoon light. Her partner, her extension, her legacy. Hansen approached. "Sir, retiring again?" Sarah smiled. "No, this is home now. Teaching the next generation is my final mission. Students everywhere are studying your methods. The program is expanding to other bases." "Good. Respect and discipline are universal principles. Every pilot can benefit." In the evening, Sarah drove to her Nevada ranch. Peaceful, quiet, but no longer lonely. There was purpose in her life again. A phone call came from her daughter in California. "Dad, I saw the ceremony on the news. So proud of you." "Thanks, honey. Finally found my place again." The next morning, Sarah returned to Nellis early. 0500 training session with a new group of students. The cycle continued. A new photo now hung on the hangar wall. Sarah standing with the first graduating class. Caption: Ghost Angel Legacy, Excellence Through Respect. Young pilots constantly arrived, eager to learn from the legend. Sarah welcomed each group with the same message: humility, discipline, respect. These make a great pilot. Years passed. Sarah aged, but never stopped teaching. Students became instructors. Instructors became commanders. The Ghost Angel philosophy spread throughout the Air Force. Sarah's final flight came on her 67th birthday. One last solo mission in the Rafale. Smooth takeoff, perfect maneuvers, graceful landing. The crowd watched silently, witnessing the end of an era. Taxiing to the hangar, Sarah felt Linda's presence, felt peace. Mission completed. Legacy secured. Stepping out of the cockpit for the final time, Sarah looked at the gathered pilots, former students, new arrivals, future leaders. "Flying," she told them, "is the greatest privilege humans have. Treat it with the respect it deserves." The hangar erupted in applause. Ghost Angel had landed. Permanently. The end.